wonderful gathering for the program STEM 18.0, which is a consecutive program which is running under the part of the Center of Skill Development by the Department of Computer Science Engineering. First of all, I welcome our respective vice chairman and respective registrar and principal to give an opportunity to make this program to be a successive one for the consecutive program to be run, especially from the pandemic situation. So the objective of this program, especially to make in what way the students can able to obtain their technological aspects, especially in this pandemic situation, and they can upgrade their knowledge in different technologies as we have been enrolled to different kinds of fields like an artificial intelligence or an industrial 4.0. Recently, we have been enrolling to Web 3.0. So all kinds of new developments have been enrolled. So this is an opportunity where the students can able to know on the what way the focus of the corporate and what is the field presently been going on, and in what way the aspects they can able to frame up their curriculum, and in what way they can frame up their resumes while they're going for placement. So this particular program is one of the technical skills where the students can able to develop and as well as enrich their knowledge, and even the faculties to be the part of the program where they also share their own knowledge in what aspects the subjects they have been taking, and what are the points which we can able to enlighten to the students. Like generally we will call to the faculties like why we specifically taking the topic and what kind of requirements that the presently the corporate is being expecting for the particular subject the student is being studying over. So all kind of this kind of aspects that the faculty be also having an opportunity to talk on this particular session. So in today's session, I to be one of the speakers to talk about the very specific topic which I've been admired, the topic known as why AI now, and followed by Mr. Adinarayanan from final year will talk about the cryptography system, and followed by Sasikala from a third year CSE talk about the honeypot, the technology level aspects, and followed by the second year student Kokilavani will talk about the 5G networks. And especially when I talk about the 5G networks, one information that I want to share it on today's session that in the forthcoming, that is 2022, we are going to step stone to the 5G network in India. So this is a recent document which I've been read over it, that India has been ready to take over the 5G network in 2022. So we can expect that particular network, and that the topic which is being taken by the second year, I think the right topic she has been chosen to carry on. So let me go for the session now. Today's session, we are going to take the topic of the very important aspects, what the technological aspects we are facing in this situation. Why AI now? Because everyone want to know about the concept of very important aspect about the technical subjects when students or the faculty, those who have been going over to the particular subjects, the only specific they want to learn about why, what, and when actually. Specifically, why is an important question to be asked over related to the any kind of subjects, why we need the subject, in what way the subject is going to be, the expectation is going to be satisfied, in what way the subject is going to be taken to the in the forthcoming Industrial Revolution 4.0. So all these kinds of aspects will come in one kind of an answer, that is an AA. So we are going on today's session on this STEM 18.0. We are going to discuss about the topic why AA now actually. So that is the important aspects which will satisfy, and most of the peoples want to know about what kind of the relationship that the AI will have, because the peoples will have different kinds of perceptions like robotics, or it may be a statistics, or it may be a machine learning or a deep learning. So there are different applications available with the common name known as an AI. But as a professional, as a field of the Department of Computer Science and as well as an information technology, we want to know very specifically what kind of a technology or what kind of an application related to what kind of a field inside the artificial intelligence. So there we want to be very clear. Then only once if you're going for a kind of any kind of a mini projects or development of any aspects, we can be able to know whether this is exclusively related to the machine level language, or it is exclusively related to the statistical level, or it is exclusively related to the data science. So all these kinds of aspects we can able to go through it. So before going to the session, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Jyotish Kumar, Head Department of Computer Science and convener of the program. And today we are seeing the contrast, the development in the field of an artificial intelligence as computer systems becomes more advanced and intelligent, so that we know that how the intelligence is being made to the system. So where Google or an Amazon have been utilizing machine learning to make up the constant advancements, especially for thousands of terabytes of data on daily basis to build up the predictive models of consumers, where the consumers can able to have a huge amount of data to be utilized. Simultaneously, there are resources for advancing the AI as an academic field, with especially particular focus on the computer vision and as well as an NLP, which what we call as a natural language processing. Recently, most of the universities have offered undergraduate courses in artificial intelligence. So that is an important aspect that we are seeing now. That most of the universities and colleges and autonomous institutions, everyone is being focusing on the course of an computer science engineering specialization in an artificial intelligence, and the enrollments have been consistently double every on the year actually. So advance in the artificial intelligence, so no signs of slowing down actually. That is the very important aspect that we should learn and know. So the world is changing rapidly and has been moved even the further into an era of the dominating the artificial intelligence technology. So where you can able to see the slides which representing about the history of an AI timeline that startup where the origin is being made in 1642 by a simple mechanical calculations of the missions is being developed, and the origin is going to be stated to be started at the age of 1950. That what you can able to see the label which has been available in the Turing test, the mission which has been identified. So all this kind of timelines are to be developed by generation of your cloud system, or the generation of any kind of an chatbots, or a kind of an any kind of a games that we will develop, especially in 1997. You can see about the Deep Blue games, which is one of the games which has been developed by an IBM once to be competitively run the chess program, and followed by different kinds of an learnings have been identified, which what we will call it as an machine learning or a deep learning or an supervised or an unsupervised. So this is the basic things that we want to know about the origin, in what way the artificial intelligence courses are all as well as the universities to be taken over the opportunity, especially in the field of computer science. And these are all the fields of the artificial intelligence. Generally, we know that. Okay, in what way the mind map, the specialization, where you can see the tree which represent about in what way the intelligence will be carried out by the name of machine learning, and as well as in predictive analytics, followed by the NLP, and how the speech is going to be taken, and what kind of software or what kind of an application that can able to adapted for the artificial intelligence. So all these kind of things to be taken in the fields of artificial intelligence. So one specific thing I want to be insisted on this particular presentation as well as in my talk. Every student as well as a faculty want to know about one thing, that whenever any application is given to you, you should be specifically know one particular thing, that whether the application is related to an AI, or it is in depth of an AI, or it is in statistics, or it is in robotics. Because all these kind of combinations are needed when you want to develop a product. So when you take about a product development, the product development is not depends on one technology, or the product development is not depend on one field actually. So it is a convergence of all kind of an information, like a statistics is needed while you want to evaluate the results, and robotics is needed once if you want to make any kind of an mechanical systems or a smart system to be sensor recognition, all these kind of things to be taken in the form of robotics, and followed by it may be the learning, where the experience that you can given for the machine. So all this kind of comparison and as well as the convergence which is needed once if you go for the development of any kind of a product, that may be an application, maybe in the software, or it may be in any kind of an hardware product development, or it may be an any other search engine as a good result, which what we call as an Google is one of the search engine who has been initially adopted artificial intelligence in the name of an page rank algorithm, and as well as a map reduce algorithm. So these are the different kinds of learning techniques which has been adopted by the most famous search engine, which what we call as a Google now. And why AI now? This is one of the basic questions which has been asked over in the placements, and as well as when you go for any kind of an interviews. So these are all the three representations of the information which is needed. Why specifically AI is needed now? One is an advancement of an algorithmic, where we want to have different kinds of algorithm to be needed, especially the advancements of algorithm which is being identified and we needed over it. An explosion of data, that in what way the data you are going to be carried out, and how much of data is going to be make it out, especially when you go for YouTube or any other downloading of any cloud information. So we know that every minute of time, how much of uploading of data has been made in the YouTube or any other social media applications. And other than that, exponential increase in the computing power and storage, like what we have seen over like a Google Colab, we have different kinds of processing units, something we call as an CPU or an GPU, what we call as a graphical processing unit, as well as a TensorFlow, which what we call as an GPU. So all this kind of an storage level as well as the computation powers are needed when, especially when you want to work it for the algorithmic advancements as well as the explosion of data. So when these two peoples are being added, that is, when the two kinds of techniques or the two kinds of the development fields, one is an algorithmic advancements as well as an explosion of data has been added, then definitely we need one thing to be needed to satisfy these two people. That is what we call it as an exponential increase in the computing power and as well as the storage. That may be the cloud or that may be the data centers or that may be related to an AWS, whatever it may be. So all these kind of things to be taken in the form of a computing power and as well as the storage. And what kind of an algorithmic advancements is being identified, especially once if we go for an AI. So one is, what is the first algorithmic advance has been identified in 1805, and which is the groundwork for the machine learning, which has been identified, where the development of a statistical framework which is being identified, and as well as when you take about, it will provide the basics for many of today's machine learning models. So all these things to be identified over in the initial stage, and as well as one of in 1958, where the first self-learning algorithm, that is very important, that the self-learning algorithm is being identified, where the self-learning algorithm will have an artificial neural network, which what we call as an ANN. Okay, and that algorithm model learn on its own. That is very important to be taken as a self-learning model, as well as to develop the groundbreaking checkers programs, whatever it may be, that to be early stages in AI it is being identified. And in 1965, the birth of the deep learning is being identified. So that is a very important aspect. In what way the learning concepts is being identified, and in what way the machine learning or the deep learning is being taken into an account. Especially now, the deep learning, you will take more kind of an initiatives, especially in the image recognition as well as the classification of images. So all this kind of aspects to be taken in the deep learning method, where we can get an accurate results, even there is not a finite number of data or the data sets is given over also, that the deep learning will take more number of initiatives, especially in different kinds of applications. For example, I want to identify an object, a number of objects available over it. So there are different kinds of application, like as recently I go through one application known as an eye scanner, where you can able to take the picture of multiple objects, then it will give you how many counts the objects is being available. You don't want to be manually do that objects. It will identify the object first of all, and followed by it will be able to know about how many objects which is specifically available. Even if it is 1,000 objects available, you can take in a single screenshot and able to represent how many objects available. So that kind of counting system also available in the name of deep learning systems. And followed by the in 1986, the very important aspect to be called as back propagation has been taken hold over on that particular. So back propagation is very important, especially when you go for navigation systems, especially when you go for GPS navigation systems to identify which is the best path. That particular moment of time, we want to go for back propagation, which means that we want to come back to the node where we have been started. We come back to the origin where we have been started. Thereby, we can able to identify which is the best route. So that particular moment of time, the navigation of GPS identification of locations, or which is the best kind of samples that you are going to develop from the data sets. So all these kind of aspects to that particular moment, the back propagation has been taken more responsibilities, and followed by in 1992, in 1997, NLP, which is one of the most important aspects that what we presently available with the chatbots. So chatbots and is being completely now being supported by an NLP, which is crucially needed in every aspects, that most of the applications has been now developed, that in out of that IBM has been exclusively carried out on different kinds of aspects how the chatbots is going to be taken. And in 1998, the PageRank algorithm is being identified with the Google search engine. That is, the Google search engine can able to know how the ranking can able to given to the particular domain or particular website based on the user perspective or based on the user visions. So that kind of things and all the algorithmic advancement is needed, especially in the name of why AI now to be needed actually. So the next one, when you go for the explosion of data, that is very important. In what way you are going to be represent over the data, or in what way the users the data of generation is needed, especially after 2010, I think. So the origin of an explosion of data is being exclusively added actually. So that the starting of an explosion of data has been started in 1991 with the name of an World Wide Web, and followed by in 2000 the broadband options becomes one of the most important aspects, because once the broadband identified, only the YouTube channel is being able to know to a common user, because the YouTube videos which is being startup at whatever it may be. But when it comes to the market, especially when coming to the user side or the customer side, it is going to be executed in a proper manner only when the broadband option is given for the user. So that is the one thing that every student want to know, that how much the broadband connectivity, especially the internet connectivity, which is needed exclusively in the internet users, that may be a home or any kind of an application to be in an organization or in a corporate. After the execution of the broadband, the YouTube could not become to be a commercially viable without the advent of the broadband, which means that without the help of the broadband, the YouTube cannot be one of the successive 1%. So that is the one exclusive one. And followed by the 2004, the origin of the Facebook, where by 2005, the number of data generating on the Facebook is around 6 million of data has been rendered. So this is the one of the another aspects why the AI is being needed now actually, like explosion of data to be needed. And as well as in 2004, the Web 2.0 has been taken over by taking different kinds of aspects in the user interaction as well as the user experience. And in 2005, the YouTube, there they taken about within an 18 months, the site would serve up to 100 million of viewers per day. So think it out how much of the user data or the data explosion of needed once when you go for the real-time applications. So explosion increase in the computing power as well as the storage. That is very important actually. That what I just told about. Generally, we have three kinds of aspects presently it's been going on, which what we call as a CPU is the common one, and GPU, the graphical processing unit, as well as the TensorFlow, which what we call as a TPU, that is tensor processing unit. So all these three peoples are one of the present thing which will mainly concentrate on how the computing power and the storage will be carried out actually. So when you go for 1965, that is a startup to recognize about the exponential growth of the chips. And in 1997, where the IBM, the Deep Blue victory over the Cary Kasparov. And in 1999, that the more computing power of AI arrives, and NVIDIA, which releases about the GeForce 256 graphics card, which is the world's first true graphics card processing unit, which what we call as an TPU, which has been identified in 1999. And followed by 2002, the Amazon brings the cloud storage and computing to the masses. And followed by in 2005, again what we called as in the number of internet users worldwide was 1 billion marks to be taken. Then if it is to be that particular thing, then how much amount of processing of data as well as the processing of RAM as well as the power processing will be needed. So at the same time, the drastically the prices also to be reduced actually. You can see it over the price of DRAM, that is typically what we call as a random access memory used in the PCs, dropped to $1 of 158 per gigabyte from 31,000 of 638 in 1995. So this much of exponential growth has been identified over in this particular one. When you go for convergence, so what is generally the convergence? That is what we just told, why AI now. We go for three kinds of aspects. To satisfy these three kinds of aspects, we need an AI. One is an algorithmic advancements. Second one is an explosion of data. And third one is the experience, that what you can make it over in the increase in the computing power and storage. So all this convergence which is needed means that we need to satisfy we need the advancement algorithm, we need an advancement of an explosion of data which is exclusively available, and as well as the experience or the explosion that has been happen over in the computer storage as well as the power. So in 2007, it introduced about the iPhone, where the smart revolution starts over there. And total number of smart phones which is sold in 2007, which is reached about 122 million actually. So which is a convergence about which is needed about the advancement in algorithmic as well as the explosion of data and as well as the processing of computer code. So all these three things to be combined, then where the AI, the turning points comes over there actually. So you can see about the list of years in what way each and every one has been started over. Like for example, like 2010, that the number of smartphones sold in years near about 300 million actually. and as well as the Microsoft and Google introduced their clouds in 2010. And followed by in 2012, the number of Facebook users is about 1 billion sections. And in 2012, Google demonstrated the effectiveness of deep learning for the image recognition. That what presently we are taking different kinds of selfies that is being taken by the Facebook, and we taken to different kinds of security aspects. So all this kind of convergence or which is specifically needed once if you go for an AI. And the next important aspect I want to share it is the taxonomy of the AI. Because every people able to know the term or the definition, maybe they can know the basic level of course. But internally, when they are going about the topic, they want to know about which topic or in what way the architecture is being available. That is very important actually. So when you take about the taxonomy of AI, we have different kinds of terms which is being related to AI, which what we call as a machine learning, deep learning, or it may be robotics, or it may be an intelligence, self-learning actually, and self-driving. So different kinds of aspects to be taken over here. So here what I want to conclude over in the sense, let's take one of the use case I want to carry out. The taxonomy is a scheme for classifying many things that may be a special case of one another. We have explained the relation between number of disciplines or fields or pointed. For example, the machine learning is usually considered to be the subfield of an AI. Generally, we know that machine learning is the subfield of an AI. But how we can able to know it as a general kinds of aspects to be carried out. So what kind of a diagrammatical representation that can able to represent it over when you want to do a relationship between the machine learning or an artificial intelligence or the deep learning, the way that we can able to represent. So we use one of the basic diagrammatical representation which is called as a Euler's diagram. So let us go for a simple kind of a demo over here. So if you are free, go for one particular website that what I can able to suggest to you. That is an elements of AI. If you are free, go and enroll in this particular website. And there is a simple level of certification is being needed, but the certification is needed little bit of a problematic, and as well as the mathematical knowledge is needed to handle this two level of courses in elements of AI. One is an introduction to AI and as well as an building of an AI ideas. So in related fields, I will show you some kind of information. Yeah. So when you take about this particular information, when you take it this particular diagram, where this diagram able to ask you one particular question about where is AI, where is deep learning, and where is machine learning, and where is data science, and where is computer science. These are all the different terms which has been available, and we specifically know that all the comprisement of an artificial intelligence or a machine learning or a deep learning. So all these kinds of subfields, everything will be common in one computer, one name we will call it as a computer science. That is the field, the program name. And followed by AI is the huge area where we generally call it as an artificial intelligence. And in artificial intelligence, the subfield, the one of the basic subfield which has been available, we call it as a machine learning. And followed by in machine learning, we have another subfield which is called as a deep learning. So the computer science is a set of courses, and inside some computer science, one of the field we have or one of the technology we have, or one of the development aspects we have is an artificial intelligence. And inside that we have a subpart to be called as an machine learning, and the machine learning will have another subpart which what we call as a deep learning. And you can see in another right hand side there is one circle has been around it which comprises of all these people. That is, it may be a computer science field which is commonly called it, or it may be exclusively for AI, or it comprises of all these people. Because when you see the right hand side, the E, which is the circle, which comprises of all these people. So what I want to conclude over in the sense, A is a computer science, and B is an artificial intelligence, C is a machine learning, and D is a deep learning. So this is the basic structure that you should know it. In what way the structure of the taxonomy of an AI, the development of the structure of an artificial intelligence is being mentioned. So artificial intelligence is a basic structure. Within that, the substructure is machine learning, followed by the deep learning. When you take about the data science, because data science will need about the statistics, will need about the machine learning, will need about the deep learning. So that is why when you take about the E, which is being available in right hand side, which is the lightly rose color. So that particular one which is being comprised of all these people actually, so that you can see it over this particular diagram. So what is the question is being asked over the sense, where would you put an AI? Okay, where you put an AI, actually what I just told about that A in this particular diagram, The common which contain all these people will be called as a, generally we will call it as a computer science. That is an A. And B will be called as a, the name which what we call as an artificial intelligence. And C will be taken to be as a part of an machine learning, which is a part of an AI. And again, D will be called as a deep learning, which is a part of a C, where C will be called as a machine learning. And right hand side, where we have the whole part, we have to be comprised of data science. So what I want to come to say is over here, since the data science is not to be the one, the data science is comprised of different kinds of technological aspects. It may be in a broad area, we will call it as a computer science, and in the field of a computer science. And to be cornered, we will call it as an, it is also the part of an AI, a part of an machine learning, and also the field or the subfield of a deep learning. So the question here asked over it, where would you put an AI? So put an AI will be the B. And where you put an machine learning. So machine learning is nothing but where we call it as a machine learning is subpart of the AI. So where is the subpart? B is the, what I can able to conclude that the B is actually the AI. So what I just told that if B is an AI, then machine learning is a subpart. That is C is a subpart. So I can able to call it section C will be the machine learning. Again, where would be you put a computer science? So where you put a computer science, because computer science is the global area, that where we have been comprising different kinds of technological aspects as well as the industrial revolutions or everything to be arranged over with a common name. So here A will be called it as the global area. So the question where you put an computer science, section A is the right answer, and as well as where you put your data science. So that's the question. So data science, what I just told about, data science is not to be the one which comprises of all these people to be in right hand side. That may be a computer science, or it may be an artificial intelligence, or it may be a machine learning, and so on. So when I take about this particular one, we can able to take about where you put a data science E, because E is the one where you can able to see over here, which comprise of all these people, and followed by the last one where you put out the deep learning. So from the term itself, we can able to identify the deep learning, which represent about the last layer, which is the internal layer. It's not to be the called as the last layer. We call it the internal layer of each and every one. Now the internal layer is actually D is an internal layer for C as well as for the every aspects. So the last one we will take it as what is the layer? The layer is D. So I will take it D is a layer which where I can able to take it that particular layer as a deep learning layer. So let I go for submit over this particular one. So now we can able to see about the answer, which is represent about A is a part of a computer science. We are giving an resolution as well as whether the justification about my answer. A is a part of a computer science, and as well as machine learning is usually considered to be the part of the AI, that what we have just given. And computer science is relatively the broad field that includes the AI, but also the subfields such as distributed computing or human computer interaction and software engineering, and followed by the data science, which need computer science and AI. However, it involves a lot of statistics, business, and as well as some different applications to be carried out. So I think this particular diagrammatical representation will give you the clear idea about what is AI and where the AI is available, where the learning, which what we call as a machine learning is available, where is a deep learning is available, which is data science, whether data science is related to one or the data science is comprised of different levels of people or the different levels of learning. So all these things you can understand from this basic level of demo where the AI is being residing over now, and what way the deep learning will take more opportunity in present situations. And let I go to the next level of task actually. Okay, this is another one important aspect that you want to know it. That is, when I take about the autonomous car, and before that, let I go for the. So I want to identify the different AI related fields, especially in this particular aspects. So you can see the different representation of diagrammatical representation available over here, which represent about the statistics you can see in the right hand side, and at the bottom you can see the robotics, and as well as in left hand side you can see about the machine learning icons. So the objective is when any kind of an application or any kind of a real time of a product is going to be developed, the product will not generally call it as an one simple topic or any particular field actually. It is comprised of all this kind of aspects. That is why it is given AI related fields actually. So what the AI related fields to be make it in the sense, it may be a statistics or it may be a machine learning or a robotics. So based on the application, we should make it very clear in your mind whether the application which is being developed or whatever we are going to develop, whether it is going to be available with one to be cornered by the statistics, or it's going to be the comprise of all these three people. So what I'm going to do over in the sense, I'm going to give another one simple level of demo for you. And so this is a demo which I want to give it for you. Autonomous score. When you take about the autonomous score, the question which is asked over in the sense whether the autonomous score is related to the machine learning or the robotics or it is the statistics. So when you take about the autonomous car, so autonomous car is actually the wide range of techniques to be allowed, where it includes robotics or it includes machine learning, and even it includes statistics, because it needs the robotics when you want to move forward, it needs the sensors. Machine learning is going to know about what is the past experience while they have been driving over in the roads or in any crucial area. So, and other than the statistics information, if you want to know what is the previous day that they travel and what kind of routes that have been identified, what is the level of accidental which has been happened. So this kind of information is also needed. So when you take autonomous car, the question which is asked over here is whether the autonomous car is related to statistics, robotics, or machine learning. So my answer to be related to this in the sense, it is also related to statistics, it is also related to robotics, because we need some kind of sensors and as well as the machine learning. So all these three people will be needed when I go for autonomous cars. When I go for the next one, steering a rocket into an orbit. So when I go for this particular topic, I will make it this particular one that robotics are needed to fire the engines and the right times with the right power actually. Maybe the initially we have different kinds of machine learnings available, but especially when you talk about the rockets, it's basically standard on about the robotics. So that is the one kind of things I want to carry out here. And the second thing, when you go for online optimization. So online ad optimization, so that is in order to, if you want to optimize your online, that may be a machine learning or a statistics which is needed to deliver the correct types of ads and as well as the right audience that you want to identify, and you want to measure the effectiveness of the optimization. So that particular moment of time, when you take about the online ad optimization, definitely machine learning is needed. And additional with this, we need the statistics, because we want to know what is the previous day ad we've been added, what is the right audience, what is the today right audience, what is the previously the right audience has been identified related to any kind of an upbringing for the product development, like an Amazon. So all these things needed the statistics actually. And next one we will call as a customer service chatbot. So there is no doubt about the customer service chatbot. It is one of the applications. So definitely it is related to the machine learning concepts. And the last one is known as summarizing Gallup results. So when I go for summarizing Gallup results, which is represent about the classical the case of uses the results which is related to the statistics, because the term itself I can able to identify the statistics. So I just given out about the statistics. So this is what I want to make it out in this particular session. See, identifying the topic is different, but whether the topic is related to different kinds of fields, that if you know that particular concept, then while you are doing on any kind of a product development or any kind of a project development, definitely you can able to clear in the topic and you can able to know what actually the topic is going to say for us and in which particular field we want to take it much more intention. All these things to be needed. Simply if I told about autonomous car, then generally people will need about the only the topic known as robotics, because the car says it may be the machine learning, maybe some people can able to know the machine learning, but statistics, where the statistics reside? The statistics resides about the analysis of the traffic and analysis of the experience, what the user will have while driving the car. This is all to be exclusively needed once you go for the statistic information, that where we go for the analysis of reports, which is exclusively needed over it. Okay, so this is very important aspects in what way we can able to know the different kinds of product level applications, in what way we can able to identify all these kind of things actually. I think we identified rightly related to this particular aspects. So I take it this session to be one of the session that to know about why AI now, based on three kinds of aspects. One is what I told about the algorithmic advancements, that your explosion of data and your the way of the computing power as well as the resource which is being needed, and followed by in what way the XP level of information which is being carried out starting from the origin to the till now, and which kind of a topics we take it in the name of an AI, how the level of taxonomy of an AI is being arrived, and as well as what kind of a product development, or it may be a field, whether it is cornered only by an AI or it is a combination of any kind of a people like a statistics, or it may be an machine learning or a robotics. So all these things to be comprised, we generally call it as an AI, or the generally will AI to be generally call it to be as a field of a broad area we call it as a computer science. Thank you, students, to be a part of this particular program. That I given some useful information for you on this particular end of this particular year. Why AA now, which is being needed, and what is the crucial which is needed for the forthcoming session. Thank you, students, to be the part of this particular program. Now, I welcome the next participant, Mr. Adi Narayanan from final year CSE, to take over the session.
Welcome to Technical Fest M 18.0 conducted by Aruna Engineering College. In this section, we are going to see data security on cloud using hybrid cryptography algorithm. For myself, I am Adi Narayanan from Computer Science Department. Let's see quick glance of our section. Abstract hybrid crypto system, AES and the 3DS, encryption and decryption phase, proposed system, flowchart, demo and advantages, then conclusion. Abstract various fields too, like cloud used in cloud, like the industry, military, college, etc. for various service and storage of huge amount of data. Data stored in this cloud can access the of retrieval to the user request without direct access to the server computer. But the major concerns regarding storage of data storage and cloud security. The security concern can be solved various ways, but most commonly ways cryptography and stenography. In this system, triple data encryption standard, reverse cipher 6 and advanced encryption standard algorithm are used to provide security to data. Algorithms are used 128-bit keys. LSB stenography is used to securely store the key information. Key information contain the information regarding the encrypted part of data. Then hybrid crypto system. Hybrid cryptography concept is used to source secure storage system of cloud. Two different approaches are used to show difference of less secure and most secure of the data. First approach you can use RSA and AES algorithm. RSA is used for key encryption and AES is used of data encryption. In the second, or we can say more secured approach, AES and Blowish algorithm is used. These two algorithms provide double encryption over data and key, which provides high security compared to the first one. Proposed system that procedure is used on firstly Diffie element is used exchanging the keys. Thereafter, authentication is performed using digital signature scheme. Finally, data is encrypted using AES and then upload to a required cloud system. For decryption, the procedure is reversed. The combination of RSA algorithm and MD5 to assure various security measures as confidentiality, data integrity, no repetition, etc. Uses RSA key generation algorithm for generating a key encrypted and encryption decryption process. MD5 digest is used. For upsetting an input length 128-bit, then proceeding it by generating a output of padded length, encryption and decryption process. Implementing the trusted storage system using encryption file system EFS and NTFS file system drive. With the help of Cache Manager for security data files, EFS encrypted stored files by automatically using cryptography system. The process takes the place followed by application write files key to NTFS, which in turn places to cache and return back to NTFS. After this NTFS, ask EFS for encryption files and read them towards the disk. Cloud storage security service is provided by using separate servers. Like user input data storage and user output different servers are used to ensure that failure. Servers does not harm to data. User input server used to storing user files and input data, providing user authentication and making sure that data is not accessed any user authorized means. Data storage server is place where encryption A is performed to secure user. Input and encrypted files are transferred to user output server. User gets the output file or decrypt the file. The algorithm is used advanced encryption standard. The AES algorithm is related to Reginald's encryption. Reginald's is a family of encryption is algorithm, different keys and block sizes. It consists of a continuous serial operation. Some of them involve the input of a certain output and others the mixing of bits. AES calculation algorithm is executed in bytes instead of bits. Advanced encryption standard 128 bits of plain data is considered as a block of 16 bytes. The 16 bytes are arranged in a 4 into 4 matrix for processing. Three types of algorithm AES is used: 128 bit and 192 bit and 256 bit. Each iteration encrypts and encrypts data in blocks using key either 128 bit, 192 bit and 256 bit. Reginald's method was enhanced to absorb extra block size and also extra key length for, but AES functions were not inherited. Then another algorithm is used for 3DES. Cryptography 3DES is an inherited enhanced version of data encryption standard. Triple data encryption standard DES is tries to ensure increase the security level. It also referred as the TDEA, triple data encryption algorithm. The all keys are different. All keys being identical. Key is 1 and 2 be different, and the key 1 and 3 is the same. The different phases of encryption and decryption phases are used in data security in cloud. Encryption phases are at the encryption end on the specification of the user being encrypted will slice into the n slices. Each of the file slices in the encrypted using Blowish key provided. User is each slice, the key will be encrypted used by RSA public key. After encryption, we have encrypted the file slice and the corresponding encrypted key. Then another phase of decryption phase. Decryption phase user will provide n RSA private keys according to the number of slices encrypted during the encryption. Flowish key is decrypted at the server and using the RSA private key specific to the slice. Using the corresponding decrypted Blowish keys, file slice stored at the server decrypted. Decrypted slices will be merged into the generated original file. Let's discuss about flowchart of our data security on cloud. Hybrid cryptography system. Upload file from the file data set and encrypt it using AES or RSA or Blowish algorithm. Then generate a random key and encrypt using random key. And stored the file, user send request to the owner and receive the file, key enter the key, it will decrypt using random key, same as encryption method, and a file will be downloaded. A proposed system. In this proposed system, a method for sourcing, storing file in cloud storage. Hybrid cryptography algorithm. In this system, the user can store a file safely. Cloud storage, these files will stored in encrypted form. In the cloud, only authorized users has access to their files. User registration, uploading a file on cloud, download a file from cloud. Let's see our demo.
If you are the new user, you will have to register your account firstly by giving username, password, date of birth, email ID, then location and contact. To register button to register your details. Registration successfully. Then we have to log in by using username and password. Then it will redirect into the main page for uploading files or view already existing files by tabs showed on the display. If you want to upload your file, then type the file name and choose the file on your device. Then click the submit button. It will indicate by pop-up menu as file uploaded successfully. Then select View Files tab on the top of the counter. It will show the file that we showed on it. Type the email of the user. And enter the password of the user and submit. If the user wants to get file stored by the owner, should send the request to the owner by send request link from the View Files tab, then it will send a request to the owner. Now we log out on the user account and go to owner account for accept the request. On the View Request tab, owner has to click the send key link for sending a key through email of the user. the email of the user and enter the password of the user and submit. Now we have to go user account for verifying the file name and the key, which is sent to the user email by owner. Copy the key and paste it in part 3 key input box, then click the verify button. If the key is correctly matched, then file has been downloaded to your device. Then open the downloaded file that contains the
Its many advantages of in data security and cloud cryptography system. Some advantages of in this section is discussed. The key is also safe to the embeds on the key in data using LSB. The stored file in completed secured as the file is being encrypted not by just using one, but the three encryption algorithms which are AES and DES and RC6. It allows user to conveniently and securely access shared cloud services. Data kept secured in on the cloud server, which avoids unauthorized access. Conclusion of the section. The main aim of the system is securely store the data and retrieve the data. Cloud is controlling. By the owner of the data, cloud storage issues of data security are solved using cryptography techniques. Data security is achieved using RC6, 3DS, and AES algorithm. Key information is safely stored using the LSB technique. Less time is used for the encryption and decryption process using multi-threading technique. With the help of proposed security mechanism, we have accomplished better data integrity, high security, low delay. Then authentication and confidentiality is the help of proposed security. In the future, we can add public key cryptography to avoid any attacks during the transmission of the data from the client to the server. Thank you.
Thank you, Adinarayanan, for your crispy speech on the cryptography, and your demo has been well. I think the students can able to understand in what way the security system will be maintained with the name of a key, which what we know about an advanced encryption standard algorithm is one of the exclusive standard algorithm which has been used over in the Indian banking system. I think the information that what is given will be helpful for the students to go in the forthcoming session to do in a simple level of the projects in different applications. So now I welcome Ms. Sasikala from third year CSE to talk the topic on honeypot.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. Now, introducing myself, I'm Sasikala from third year CSE department. Today, I would like to talk about my topic, honeypot. This is the content of my presentation. What is honeypot, history of honeypot, and then types and level of interaction, then working, advantage and disadvantage, finally conclusion. First of all, we will see about what is honeypot. We can define honeypot is an information resource whose values lies in unauthorized or illicit use of that resource. Honeypot is a computer system used in cyber security. It is an exciting new technology to protect our computer from the hackers. Honeypot is used to detect the hacker. It is a unique tool to learn about the tactics of attackers. It is an effective method to track the hacker's behavior. The main goal of honeypot is gather information as much as possible. Honeypot provide a cost-effective solution. Now let's turn on history of honeypot. Lance Sprinkner is a founder of honeypot. He is an internationally recognized leader in the field of cyber research and security training awareness. The concept of honeypot is begun in 1991. The Cuckoo's Egg and An Evening with a Brieford, these two publications were the beginning of what became honeypot. The first type of honeypot is released in 1997. And then it is called a Deceptive Toolkit. Now let's move on to my next topic, which is types. The types of honeypot, describe them in greater detail and define their goal. First, production honeypot. Honeypot are used in performing an advanced detection function. It is placed inside the production network. They prove whether the security function of honeypot is inadequate in case of attack which became hard to lock. Honeypot are used by organization. With the honeypot, there is a recorded evidence of attackers. It is easier to deploy. Second, a research honeypot. It is mainly used in research. It can use it in different scenario also. Research honeypot are often used by military or government organization. It can use it to learn about the tactics and techniques of skilled hackers. It is complex to deploy and it is direct opposite to the production honeypot. And then next topic is level of interaction. There are three levels of interaction in honeypot. Now we're going to see two levels of interaction. What are they means? Low interaction and high interaction. Low interaction honeypot are used only for detection and serve as the production honeypot. This is a very secure solution which promote a little risk to environment where it is installed in. It gives the attackers minimal access to the operating system. Attackers' activity is limited to the level of emulsion by the honeypot. The main disadvantage with the low interaction honeypot is that they log only limited information and they designed to capture known activity. The example of low interaction honeypot is honeyed. And then the next topic is high interaction honeypot. High interaction honeypot are used primarily as a research and a production honeypot. High interaction honeypot are different, they are usually complex. This interaction involved in risk factor also. Using high interaction honeypot, research can learn the tool and actor used to escalate a privileges. The example of high level interaction is honeynet. Let's move on to next topic, honeyed. Honeyed is involved in low interaction honeypot. It is working on the concept of monitoring unsent IP space. It emulates a service like FTP, Telnet, and HTTP. It emulates different operating system as well as. Then honeynet. Honeynet is a collection of honeypot or combined to form a single honeynet. It is used to monitoring a large network. A single honeynet is not enough to monitor a large network. Let's turn now to next topic, working. This is the simple illustration of honeypot. This one has the firewall. Every organization with internet connectivity is likely can have firewall. The firewall find a way to get inside the organization. So honeypot is designed to a login page. When an attacker log in, someone internally vision. Honeypot detect the activity and immediately send an alert. Then we can determine someone is doing malicious. This is the working of honeypot. And then next is where the honeypot is placed in the network. The honeypot are often placed in demilitarized zone or on the network. Honeypot are installed with a firewall. Firewall works in reverse direction of honeypot. Honeypot are generally based on a real server and the OS system. Let's move on to advantages. Small data set of high value. It collects small amount of throw at a honeypot. The honeypot will detect and capture it, collect information in depth. If any other technologies can match us. Simplicity. Honeypot are conceptually very simple. It is cost-effective solution. And then disadvantage. Limited view. They only see what activity is directed against them. Risk. All security technologies have risk, minimum resource. They only capture bad activities. Before we finish, I want to conclude my topic. It is an effective tool for observing hackers' movement as well as preparing the system for future attack. It is a flexible tool with a different security application. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Sasikala, for your presentation on honeypot. And you've given an idea about the basic level of work that you've given on honeypot. Let me go for one step forward to know about some kind of an implementation or some kind of what is the present day the honeypot, the emulations or the software that is being developed, the current trends, what are the applications that is being deployed over it. So if you carry out that kind of an additional information, that will give and strengthen your presentation. Maybe you can do it in future when you are doing different kinds of topics to be covered to be lesson program. Thank you. So the next is, participant is Ms. Kokila Vani from second year to take over the topic on 5G network.
Good evening to one and all. Welcome you all to the Technical Fest STEM 18.0. I'm Kokila Vani from Department of CSE. Second year. Let's move on to the topic 5G network. It is the next generation of mobile standard defined by the International Telecommunication Union. First, the basic G stands for generation, meaning 5G is the most current generation of cell phone network and coverage area and speed. As 5G continue to expand, people are going to feel the impact of 5G revolution. Designed to have faster speeds, larger capacity, and reduced latency, 5G is accepted to be the key for innovation in tomorrow's future. In particular, increased speed can open new opportunity in public safety and business. Abstract 5G technology stands for fifth generation mobile technology. 5G technology will change the way most high bandwidth user access the phone. With 5G, people will experience a level of call volume and data transmission never experienced before. 5G technology is offering the service in different fields like documentation, supporting electronic transaction, e-payments, e-transaction, etc. 5G design is a basic on user-centric mobile environment. What is 5G technology? The fifth generation of mobile wireless communication promised to lower latency, offer greatly stability. In 5G, air latency is the order of 8 to 12 milliseconds. The latency to the service must be added to the air latency for most comparison. Reduce the handover. Latency is an going to area of research and development. The range of 5G depends on many factors. Frequency is the most important of all. MMI signal tended to have a range of only a couple of 100 meters. Low band signal generally have a range of a couple of kilometers. Features of 5G network: high band, high data rate, 1 gigabits per second for hotspot, decollect speed 100 megabits per second, and upload speed of 550 megabits for wide area coverage. Comprehensive connectivity: 1 million connection per square kilometer area. Ultra low latency 1 millisecond. The high reliability 99.999% for mission critical ultra reliable communication. Mobility at a high speed up to 500 km/h speeds for the high speed train. It will take a long time for the technology to turn into reality, but it has enough potential to completely change our current mode of interaction with wireless device. What is 5G? 5G network in India. There is like to be delay in the rollout of the 5G network in India. The government had yearly suggested that the spectrum audition for 5G would take place by the first quarter of 2022, but that is like to be the pushed further now. The deployment will require 100 MHz of 5G spectrum in the 3.3 to 3.6 GHz band. Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel, and Vodafone Idea are currently catch up with 5G network trial in India. The 5G testing cities include Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, and Gujarat. The 5G testing in other cities will begin soon as shall complete the testing phase in 6 months. Airtel successfully demonstrated 5G service over a 5G network in Hyderabad marketing on industry field. Where can be 5G used? 5G can be used in three main connection services. They include enhanced broadband, mission critical communication, and the massive Internet of Things. The massive mission type communication. It can also provide internet service to large number of connected devices. This enable a high density of connectivity in Internet of Things and smart cities, smart power grid, smart industries, etc. Ultra reliable power. Latency communication. This meets the state and requirement to reduce the delay to as 1 millisecond. This technology enables communication in mission critical application, thus make application possible in robotics and autonomous vehicle. Is asset is 5G asset to health. The cell tower may use high frequency signal to get large amount data, except claim that health wards are often person residing near mobile towers. Electromagnetic force cause inflammation, distributing the circadian rhythm for organic living being. It also requires many cell towers. Its bit of abundant benefits gained by users. 5G technology radiation also carries various health hazards to living beings. Also, research have predicted that the radiation penetrates into tissues and affects the nervous system. It also causes disease, including cancer in prolonged use. Despite human, the electromagnetic radiation also causes impact in bird and their nesting behavior in growth of trees and plants, and cause impact in nature habitat. Nature habitat is 5G boon or ban. The telecommunication companies claim to provide faster internet. The user demand over bandwidth. Rural area would also get internet service. The 5G requires small cell tower to be deployed closer to user, with more antenna to expand in data intensive coverage. There are possibility that 5G network are more hackable because it is connected and integrated. Although there are various confusion over the need, safety and efficiency of 5G network, various countries have declared the technology as safety and implemented. It also ready to hit the market. Countries that have 5G technology. Some countries over the world already implement 5G, whereas many other countries have planned it and under test setup. First country to adopt 5G in large scale in South Korea. South Korea, China, United States are leading in building and deploying 5G technology. Australia, Canada have begun their 5G service and are currently expanding. Potential benefits of 5G in India. The cumulative economic impact of 5G on India could reach the US $1 trillion by 2035. The 5G will enable the use of robotics for precision manufacturing, especially where human cannot perform this task safely or accurately. 5G can enable improvement in the entire value chain, from agriculture to smart irrigation and livestock management. This will help to incorporate artificial intelligence into our life and enable seamless data exchange to smart devices to provide an environment for the Internet of Things. 5G will enable the use of robotics for precision manufacturing, especially where human cannot perform this task safely or accurately. In healthcare, 5G can enable more effective telepathy delivery, remote control of surgical robotics, and wireless monitoring of critical data. With the help of 5G, the use of virtual reality and robotic in health, education, etc. will be possible. The Smart Cities and Digital India program will get a boost. Advantage of 5G technology. 5G technology works 10 times faster than 4G, and so it is easier to download files, video just in second. Data rates of 5G pairs or more can be achieved. Decrease traffic load. Provide, cons- provide consistent and uninterrupted connectivity through the world. 5G is, 5G is designed to be connected numerous embedded sensors virtually in low data power and mobility. Data bandwidth of 1 gigabits per second or higher, globally accessible, dynamic information access, available at low cost. It is manageable with the previous generation. It can give 3 times more spectrum efficiency. Disadvantage of 5G technology. 5G equipments are costly to install and maintain. 5G smartphones are costly for common man to use. Privacy issues are not yet resolved. The main disadvantage of 5G is that it has limited global coverage and it is available only in specific locations. Only cities can benefit a lot from 5G network, and remote area may not get the coverage it for some years. Moreover, the expensive for setting tower station are high when compared to other network. Conclusion. According to the Global System for Mobile Communication, the intelligence report released in May 2019 by the Global Telecom Industry Body, India will have 92 crore unique mobile subscribers by the year 2025. In India, 5G connections are projected to reach 88 million by 2025. By 2025, India alone will make up about a quarter of the world's new mobile subscribers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kokavani, for your wonderful presentation related to the 5G network. That what the data that you have been given is rightly coined over it, because the aspects of the information that you've given really give some more full information. That what you told about the 5G is going to be taken over the forthcoming year of January 2022, and in what way the different kinds of countries and the expectations of technology aspects of background of the 5G network. Maybe you can go further investigation on the 5G network, that you can take it as a presentation and come with some kind of a purpose as a journal or an application. So that will be fine, I think so, once if you go for the real-time implementation actually. So today I've been happy that the three young minds of our department have shared an information related to the cybersecurity or related to the cryptography, as well as the communication part, the 5G network. Really given more informative information. So I thank all the students to be in the part of this program. So once again, I want to take this the word that it's a consecutive program which has been ever to be made over in this particular pandemic situation, and we have been running over this program consecutively in every month, and we will shortly see it on the forthcoming January 22. And Happy New Year, and make your hard work, and let be free from this pandemic quickly. Thank you, students. Thank you.